We have a very, very special guest. I am so excited to say that, backed by popular demand, is the guest that everyone requested the most out of all the guests that we had this season of analysis. Also happened to be the only guest we had, also happens to be the only person we could get, but that doesn't matter. Chmerkovskiy.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
brother.
for accepting the invite yet again.
That's right.
Answering the call.
That's right. I had to move some things around, but
We sent
glad I
out
could make
some
it happen.
smoke signal. No, but let's just, jump right into it. How was it? What was it like? Again, now this is sort of at the end of it all, at the end of a very unique, one-of-a-kind season.
Yes.
Right? So like, with all of that in mind, I have thoughts on how finale usually goes based on what the season usually is. This is certainly not something usual. What is your first sort of impression?
It still felt special, believe it or not. It still felt like, wow, this is like a finale feels, That feeling of, it's kind of like graduation day / final round of the Olympics. Like it's just this fusion of emotion. First of all, a bit of sadness that it's all coming to an end. Mixed into this cocktail of like also being nervous for your loved ones, like for myself, for instance.
Wife.
Right, I had,
We'll get to it.
Yeah. So Jenna Johnson and Neve obviously had a really huge chance in taking it down. So, I was really invested in that and very, very nervous. When it came down to the top two, I literally almost fainted. Honestly,
wow.
I was like, I got a little lightheaded because I was just so nervous for her. And
So now you know how it feels
yeah, I want
being the person that's not standing there in the two, because that's a different nervousness.
For sure, bro.
And being that invested, like
I will be in the trenches all day than be on the sideline, like rooting. You know what I'm saying? Being nervous for somebody else. I'd rather be the one losing than seeing a loved one lose. That's some facts.
Just so many of those moments come to mind within our history. Not being selfish about it, but saying like we've experienced so much of that. I've experienced watching you go through some stuff competitively.
Right.
I'm talking about pre-Dancing with the Stars days. You certainly saw me enough times not make it or almost make it.
For sure. Yeah, no, I definitely gave you a lot more moments of joy than you have given me as a fan.
Tour season.
No, it was that's the part that's so difficult, is you want the best for this other person. And so from that end, it was really nerve-wracking. Like, it wasn't a pleasant day for me. I did not have fun yesterday. I was nervous the entire time. I tried to be a support system to Jenna, obviously. And so from that end, it was very stressful. But as Chmerkovskiy, a member of the Dancing with the Stars team, I am very grateful that everybody came together and made it happen. It was a huge feat in COVID times to put on a live show. Guys, I think people forget that this is a live show.
Right.
This year, more than ever, we had more, like the numbers that you saw were, except for the competing numbers, there was a lot of pre-tape. But outside of that, this was a live 2-hour show in primetime television during COVID. It's really challenging to put that out during regular times. I promise you, it was nearly impossible to put it out during these times. The television you see at home, all of that is pre-shot, edited. All the award shows that you see of these beautiful performances, that's all pre-recorded. We are the only show making television on this type of level that's going out live. Everything else is our sporting events, and you see the sporting events. This team got COVID, this team got COVID.
3 players over here,
The
2
fact
stars
that-
over here,
yeah,
So the logistics behind keeping it live are also pretty crazy. I just want to be let's say, for example, having Peter, who got eliminated, or semi-early,
Right.
still come in and test every day, just because
Yeah.
you never know what may happen. And
Yeah.
so, we live in different times.
And I
different
tested
times.
every day after I got eliminated, and usually you get eliminated, the bittersweetness of it all is, well, it's bitter, but the sweetness is the fact that you now have a little bit more time to
Right,
do
free
other
to do
things.
stuff.
And I would feel awful if, God forbid, anything happened with Jenna, and I would
Right.
get sick, then Jenna, so, and not just Jenna, the
Oh,
entire
yeah,
team,
no,
the
I
entire
mean,
show. So even though I got eliminated, I still had to be accountable to, be very safe and cautious. And look, I'm just glad that everybody on the team, not just dancers, not front camera, but back camera, made an effort to make it happen. So that's how I feel. I feel grateful that we actually did it. That's an accomplishment in itself.
So, I guess, what this is all about, right?
Right.
And back to kind of what this is all about in that sense. It just last four couples,
Yeah.
you know. What I do know is that also I know my conversation, I know who I'm talking to.
Right.
And I know that it's irrelevant for this, in this context, to ask about what wasn't good or what you didn't like.
Right,
But
right,
like,
right.
so give me the highlights for you of these four couples. I refuse to say that it's not a couple, and that's a different topic. But I feel like the one thing that I would be able to criticize, no matter the times that we live in and all of that, is the fact that the last names of a pro are important, and the professional dancer. It was obvious after this season, having watched the season, how important the pro is to the show itself, to the storyline, the through line of a person that comes on, because a lot of it isn't built in. Not everybody comes in with a lot of experience and a lot of personality for this kind of experience and all that stuff, right? So a lot of it would be like, to get the best out of that celebrity, you need to partner him up with this kind of pro, because together they will create that kind of narrative.
Right.
And so that was taken away, I felt.
Right.
I do, however, want the focus not to be like, well, Caitlyn did this, and Neve did that.
Right.
I want to know what you think about the couples having performed.
Yeah, I think, what do I think, like, just from the top of my head?
Four people that have done a journey.
Right.
How
Okay.
was their journey
Like, I mean,
highlighted?
from literally the most immediate thoughts that I have on the show, like just from right here, from the tip,
Just
no
right away.
filter.
Just right away.
I thought that Neve and Jenna had showcased the most original choreography out of everybody throughout the season. I think Neve definitely overachieved. I think coming into the competition, if you thought like, could he have gone there? I think he really proved a lot of people wrong. I think he came a long way. And as a couple, that's a result of obviously Jenna and him working hard. I thought that Sasha and Justina were, consistent AF. Like, she smashed it. I can't celebrate Sasha's effort throughout the season enough.
Right.
I do think that, some of the stuff could have, for me, like I said, I just thought that it was consistent, it was excellent, but I've seen it before, and I've just seen it before choreographically. So I just wish it could have been a little bit more unique in that sense. But again,
She had dips. She had dips this season. I feel like it was that kind of sort of narrative for them is the fun, upbeat,
right.
this kind of set of steps. It's almost like they did a little bit of everything that ended up being their freestyle. Probably then you start noticing things. You start
Right.
noticing repetitions.
Right, but again, I don't know. I'm not in the room. I don't know what the
Right.
setup is. I don't know what challenges they have, and so I'm just looking at the final product that they put out. and I thought it was great, consistent from beginning to the end of the season. Nelly and Daniela, I thought, I thought, again, ball is life, so I relate everything to basketball. To me, the professional MVP this season is Jenna Johnson, just because of what she was able to do with Neve. I think Rookie of the Year by far is Daniela, being the first season, coming out there, making the All-Star team, going to the finals.
Yes.
Again, I'm relating it all to basketball terms, but like Daniela smashed it, and
Yeah.
I am so proud of this little Russian girl from Brooklyn.
Yet another neck of the wood
that I've seen
mate.
since she was 8 be a standout, by the way, in the competitive ballroom world, and for her to come
Humbly
out,
pay her dues, come out, do it, in a way that needed to gain that attention and gain that, let's give it to her, because she, was the troop last time.
Right.
Stood out in the way that she needed to and showed herself, and then was given a season with a very difficult opportunity.
Yeah, but again, I'm just proud to look. Daniela's pedigree in the world of dance is so incredible that it's just not, that doesn't always translate. First of all, that never doesn't always make it to the
It
show.
didn't translate for a lot of people that came
Right.
in with a lot of pedigree.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And not, to me, she's the kind of the next coming of Karina Smirnov. I would love for her to just be the next coming of Daniela Karagac. Obviously, that's what she is. But we haven't had that type of spirit, that type of energy, that type of quality on the show since Karina, to be honest. And, those are tough shoes to fill. Karina's one of the greatest female dancers of our world. So,
I agree.
not the world, I mean of our ballroom dance world.
One of the top females that has been said before, and it's just a fact. But the thing is that's interesting because
Sorry, you were asking about the couple, right?
yes,
Okay,
but
can
like,
I-
we could. This is our show,
Right, we can do whatever
this is
we
what
want.
we do. It's what we do. We'll get to the couples, but this is interesting because there was, and not to disrespect, and obviously it improved the show a lot, and it gave it a big. We were doing something good, great, amazing, but one-off, right? So we were pushing ballroom and trying to stretch the ballroom limits, but we've then dabbled into a pool of kids that are not coming from ballroom, they're coming from
Theater,
everything.
musical theater, yeah.
And with it, with all the Whitneys and Britneys and Jennas and Lindsay and Brendan and I'm not going to say Alan, but Alan did have experience, and so you think of everything else, which I didn't. I
Right.
did not. And we learned it on the show. Once the
Learned
kids
it on
were
the
coming
job,
in.
yeah.
Exactly, and the new choreographers were coming in, and all these new styles were being implemented, and I hated it. I was the old fart. I was just like, why do I gotta? But then I looked down at my feet. Us ballroom guys are just not used to barefoot.
Man, nobody
Bro,
wants
I do
to
not
see my
want
hairy
anyone
ass
to
toes,
see my
bro.
feet ever.
God, and it hurts.
And it's just
The little
upsetting.
paper, it's like
But
paper
hold on,
cuts
but
in
we
your
mean
toes.
a turn on
yeah,
the thing,
no.
and we don't know. Like, oh yeah, I could put that little.
Guys, and we didn't know
What
that
is that
wearing
called?
jazz
What
shoes
is that called?
is like the number one
No.
no. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
know that was terrible.
Socks are upsettingly uncomfortable. And I didn't know that there was a thing called the toe thong.
The toe thongs, which is again like 101.
Yeah,
Don't
you're
do
being
that.
frowned upon. Anyway,
Don't do
so
that.
I tried. It took me a long time to have to come back to it, but I appreciate.
But again,
I
I-
love the art. But I'm saying,
But that's why
we've
it was
come
always
full circle. We've come full circle, and we do have to. We have to. I believe that we have to re-tap back into a bit of a ballroom pool, and I think having somebody like Daniela show up
Right.
out of like where we used to look for dancers and pros, right? It just brought a smile to my face. Plus, again, our neck of the
right,
woods.
and it's also, I think people forget, like, that's what ballroom dancing's supposed to look like. Like when she smashes those rondes and she hits those lines and she does that quality,
hits
like
different, as the kids say
that's
nowadays.
that's what it should and could look like. If we just help facilitate a little bit more of that, not just through casting, but reward things like that. Reward, choreography that's different. The other thing that I liked about Daniela is that because she's so green, she doesn't have any formulas that she fell into. Everyone's trying to mimic the Max special and the tangos and the and the passos and all that. Everyone's trying to mimic the Derek Huff special when it comes to certain links and the how to mask and camouflage the flaws,
side by side, the freestyle elements.
Everybody's trying to tap into those formulas that we've seen work before. No one's trying to create their own lane by trying something different.
Do you think that you have people? Do you think, forget the people, because then it just opens up for whatever. Do you think Daniela can be that? Do you think Daniela can figure it out?
I think Daniela's going to need to work hard to keep her brand,
actually, and
keep her own branding.
Correct me if I'm wrong. What is the hardest season? I want to know your opinion. What is the harder season? A Tommy Chong or Alfonso?
I mean, both are hard. I think pressure-wise, Alfonso for sure. For sure.
No doubt. But in my opinion, Tommy type of season is
really?
just ridiculously difficult.
Okay.
Nelly, to me, is very difficult. It's very difficult. Having said that, it's difficult because it's nerve-wracking. Like, what else can I do?
Oh yeah,
there are such limited. But what else can I do?
But again,
so
when you ask me that,
like
it's both difficult, different kind of difficult.
You give that person someone like a Neve, right? And I wonder what Neve and Daniela would have looked like. And I almost felt like this was the best thing that happened to her is a non-Neve, but a Nelly. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of person, that type of character, that type of vibe. I love to know and to hear that he's a nice guy, that they had a great relationship.
Nelly.
Yeah,
that's
what I heard.
Yeah,
Again,
he's a G.
But that's what I heard, and that's what I saw, and I saw just couples having fun.
Nelly was dope because he's a superstar. The thing, you said or Tommy Chung, and then it was like that's why Nelly. Like Nelly and Tommy Chung are very different type of seasons. I know what you meant. Like someone that you could squeeze.
Limitations.
But that's the thing is like Nelly is, I will reiterate, is not a Tommy Chung and potentially could potentially have not had dance, limitations.
Right. I'm not.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm not picking up. I just want to clarify because
because my man's is 45, fit, knows how to perform, is a superstar.
And that's not what I meant.
Charm,
what I
charisma.
meant is that the whole through line for me in analysis of Nelly's journey is just a massive ceiling after ceiling after ceiling, which is very obvious. But again, the personality that was coming back was so entertaining, and so it wasn't upsetting to give him a 4 and root for him to keep making it. For example. And I never did. And so for me, on this show, having a one score lower is enough to show the levels, especially so late in the season. And when he was starting to continue making further and further, I warmed up to him.
Of course not. He had me grinning every week, like clapping out loud. He's
the beat. He's the version of what Master P never became. I don't know how else to say it. Like I'm not saying that he can't dance.
Check this out. I just
didn't think that he did enough for me to say that there was blossoming of Nelly. Nelly showed a journey. I just don't think so. For example, this again, my opinion.
Right. No, I definitely think he had moments like his jive. He definitely was like, oh snap, you can dance if you want to. So yeah, I don't want to, like I said, it's hard to compare, but
which is exactly what we
right. You've positioned it, and I know what you meant when you say Tommy Chung season, but I could also position that and say, Rashad Jennings beat Normani Corday. Rashad Jennings is a fullback on 6'4", 2, whatever. He could have also been limited. He just approached it like, I really want to learn how to dance. So it's a different, it's a mental thing. I think Neve as well. You know, you're saying Neve just really like, yo, I'm here to really learn how to dance, whatever it takes. I think Nelly came through and was like, yo, I'm down to have fun, but I'm not putting on that, you know, shirt if it's not like my swag. You know, I'm not gonna do that move if it's gonna make me look weird. You know, so it's like Nelly did embrace it, but on his own terms.
Right.
Entertaining, all of that.
Right.
But
like,
that's what I'm saying.
Short of English second language, that's actually pretty much how I try to mean it. But again.
Hold for sound.
All
All right, we're back.
But yeah, short of again,
Right.
just
That's what I think you mean.
that's how I meant it. Yeah, it's just listen again, and because it was so fun to watch, I loved both Nelly and Tommy Chong. To be honest, you know, they were such memorable figures.
Yes.
Without whom the finale wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't an upsetting. It wasn't an upsetting non-dancer kind of person in the final four.
No way. Nelly was a huge part of that finale. The finale would not be the same without Nelly, like straight up. And the season wouldn't be the same without Nelly. Nelly, I'm not going to say made the season, but he was a big reason why it was as entertaining and fun to watch. At least, again, for me in the room. Maybe I'm biased because I'm a huge fan, whatever. This kind of leads me into the next couple and, you know, ultimately the winners, Caitlin and Artem. Off the bat, again, back to since we're doing whatever we want now.
Yes,
Artem is, you know, I mentioned this in my Instagram post. Like the only consolation that I had to seeing Jenna not win was to see Artem
finally take it down.
Yeah, you know.
I texted the same thing. I'm like, this is very reminiscent of my season. He had a falling out, maybe seemingly with the show, came back, kind of on his terms, sort of stayed out of like situations and moments and all that. I personally know because again, there's a lot going on with the newborn and the all of these things that come with that. But my narrative was the same. I was like, regardless of obviously my max like through personal affiliation loyalty, regardless of how Jenna dances, I'm gonna 10 times that number because that's what we do, you know.
Right. No, she told me she was upset. One of your weeks.
Unreasonably. Oh, but when criticism? Wow, back it up.
I didn't even want to tell you that because I was like, well, I'm not gonna tell him that because I'm not gonna sway him or guilt him into. I
have something at the end, kind of like a train of thought about that. Just remind me. But you know, I texted him that point is that it felt so good and you kind of did it on your you did it your way and on your terms and the way you wanted to do it. And it's sort of, I'm so happy for him for finally get here because as a one-time winner that took 10 years actually. It was 10th year anniversary type of thing and it was wild, that feeling of finally obtaining something that you literally ran after, feeling like in quicksand type of shoes. So we had different journeys, but it felt a little bit like that for me, for him. So I was very happy for him.
For sure. I mean, again, don't let my tone fool you. Like ecstatic. For him, ecstatic. Especially for everything you said. You know, it felt like redemption. It felt like validation. It felt like, you know, again, it's no shade. This is a community of obviously people that love the show and know us and know our thoughts. And I love Patti LaBelle. But, you know, this is for all the seasons that he didn't get someone that was going to win. And he knew that from day one. This is for all the seasons that, and I said it again, I mentioned it. You know, this is a race with very different horses.
That's what I meant by the analogy of having a Tommy Chong. Let's leave Nelly out of it, but having a Tommy Chong because
Tommy, we love you, Tommy.
Because you roll up on this. You know, the way I describe Dancing with the Stars to some people when they talk to me about this, like on a golf course, like 9 in, and now you buddy. You know, it's like you show up to a race, right? And you're given this method of transportation, if you will, in that race, and you looking at somebody got a Ferrari, and you're like, great. And it's like, here, you know, slightly used Ford Taurus,
Right.
1994, if they still were making those. They were, 97
right,
maybe. You know, somebody right here is in a tricycle, so you're kind of starting to like
Well,
know your chances. And then this like crotch rocket with just seat and a seat belt shows up and one button and no steering wheel.
Right.
You know, and I would say that that was my Merrill season. You know, it was
Right.
literally, you know, personally for me. Did I
Just a
put out effort?
Tesla autopilot.
Yeah, autopilot. Did I put in effort? Yeah, I put in effort. I can check off every item of effort that I put in.
Right.
But was it different showing up to start line and seeing Meryl? And you know, famously, I keep telling that story when she walked in and said, "You are definitely in the wrong room. I am so sorry about that." And she's like, "No, I got you." I was shocked,
Right.
right? Because I never had that feeling.
This is not part of the script.
It's not part of this narrative, you know? And even then, I still, when I got her and I see Derek, and I'm like, you know, there's no way that that couple is losing Dancing with the Stars,
Right.
you know, with who he had at that season.
Right. So you had a different type of challenge because of that. But you guys were both in pretty fast cars. But yeah, sometimes you show up in the. And that I want to add even more of a metaphor. You know, you show up and it's your little Honda Civic, but you love that Honda Civic, you know, and you start dressing it up and you start trying to make it great. And then they're like, how's it going? And
I wonder what it sounds like.
And then
from
you're
this
like,
side.
yo, actually it's popping. Like the clutch is strong and she, you know, her hood doesn't open, but like
Sometimes you don't know how to drive a fast car.
sometimes you don't know how to
And that
drive
was-
stick in your
And then-
Lambo.
And then you look at, and then you're sitting in your Civic,
in your
looking at
Civic, and
somebody
you're
going,
Like kill the clutch and the exhaust, and
Yeah,
you're
it's
like, bro,
oh no.
learn how to drive stick. And whoever casted this couple didn't
Just put a
even
wrong
respond.
drive in that whip.
You know what I'm saying? I'm glad we could do that. I'm glad we could get that out of the system.
We're out of this.
But anyway, the point is that Caitlin is an incredible girl, pure heart, pure class, pure love to everybody. I'm happy that she won. I already expressed how happy I am for Artem that he won. If I look back at their season, I don't remember one dance, and that could be my bad. But that can also speak for, again, that type of season. So, am I happy that they won? Yes. Am I happy that he finally, you know, I think he won for his body of work. I mean, that's how I feel. I feel like everybody wanted him to win, and he deserved to win. But
also
I didn't feel elated. I'm excited for you to see their freestyle. I do think that their freestyle was the best dance of their season.
Right.
And that's, I mean, that always says a lot and it goes a long way. But I thought that it was too little too late. You know? Like, to me personally, I feel like I wish I saw that type of magic earlier in the competition so that we wouldn't even have these conversations. We shouldn't even had comparison. It shouldn't even have been close.
It would make conversations harder, I think. I actually think that, you know, what happened was exactly the way a lot of Dancing with the Stars finales and winners actually played out. You know, that situation of the finale where somebody comes in and, you know, swoops in the last minute. However, I have no idea, but there's a Bachelor Nation situation.
Right.
You know, that's a big driving force regardless of what happens. And, you know, we'll get you there and then we'll see what happens. And to be honest, I want to see it.
Right, you'll
But
see it.
if this, but there have been seasons of a finale taking it all. You know,
Yeah, this was
I
it.
was part of these seasons when I'm gonna reference somebody like a Mel B, for example.
Right.
You know, that was that kind of season. We put out numbers that are still being replicated in, you know, and attempted.
Right.
And I think that the freestyle was completely on me. It's all my fault.
Right.
It was a wrong freaking freestyle for that type of season.
Right.
And I let someone who was kind of, I'm going to say, a little underwhelming along the way. Yeah, Quick Step was dope. You know? Hey, Pachuco! Hey!
Yeah, but
formula, it's a formula,
yeah.
it's a formula, right?
Right.
And what happened is at the end when it mattered, because we were confused, it's like leaving it up to the judge in a boxing match.
Right. Don't leave
Bro,
it up.
do not leave
Bro,
it up
but we
to
took
judge.
a bunch of L's. I took
Knock
an L.
him out.
Yeah,
Knock him out. Make it. What do we talk about? But Rising Stars, I keep referencing myself to myself. When I feel stuff is unfair, I remember drilling you guys and screaming at everybody from this.
You got to be 10 times better.
You got to be 10 times better. You got to be undeniably better. That there is no Rule
doubts.
11, you know, the tiebreakers, the playoff situation. Let me think about this. There's nothing to think about. It's head and shoulders.
Yeah, no, I
know?
took an L with Zendaya, completely my fault. You know, same thing. But that goes back to those conversations about musical theater and understanding what works, when it does and when it doesn't. You know, I spoke to Daniela yesterday after the show. She, you know, congratulated her. She was like, yo, this freestyle thing, not for me, not for me. I need structure. Give me a genre and I will choreograph that genre.
Oh, she'll learn. She's going to love freestyle.
You know, and so when you think about a freestyle, it puts so much pressure on us because we never really choreographed freely as a piece until the show. Now, I mean, a freestyle, we understand how to create a composition that will translate on camera. But, you know, we had to learn through those losses. And now back to my wife, who I love so very much. You need to feel this too, you know. Right. Thankfully, she's won before, which is great. But now she's also lost. You know, she has never lost before. And not this close.
In a way, this close.
You know, not this close, and it feels very different. And she was like, "Well, did you ever lose?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, and got
with Zendaya, one of the best talent.
And then instead of even trying to celebrate the season, when
talk about insult to injury,
and when I took him straight to
Sinai, to get stitched up.
Not to Sinai, we had to find somebody.
Was it?
Yeah, on Wilshire somewhere. It's closed now.
Somewhere around the block.
Plastic
went straight to the alleyway.
True story. True story, by the way. Zendaya's season was also documented, but social media was not that big back then. He got elbowed by Z in dress rehearsal.
Which was at 3 o'clock. 3 p.m. was when I got elbowed.
And by the way...
Show is live at 5 on the West Coast.
Right, so and just to cut jump so you understand the level of elbowing, the blood and all that, it required plenty of stitches, right? But we had no time to take...
To get the stitches.
To get the stitches, so it was kind of like a little...
they did like the little butterfly.
Yeah, here's a butterfly. And so with that, hey, welcome to Dancing with the Stars. And he comes out with the butterfly. But then insult to injury is that sort of offset kind of situation, the freestyle, the this, whatever you think. I don't actually, I'm not going to lie, I'm not focused on that remembering wise, but I remembered that it felt like, man, it felt that way. It felt empty. To me, it immediately... I don't even remember that because Mom was on the phone.
Right, this is my point.
Get him to the doctor.
My point is whether the freestyle mattered or not. You know, because you could always like, yeah, but it's the freestyle that lost it or won. Whether it did or not, my approach, like you said, the philosophy is like, look, if there's even a slim chance of doubt, then that's my bad.
Yeah.
You know, I should have done better. Whether it would have made a difference or not, whether Caitlyn, you know, whether Zendaya, whether Mel B, whether Elio, you know, we don't know because it already happened.
Right.
But are we going to take responsibility for it?
Every season.
Absolutely. We could have done better. We should have done better. That's it. But
that's the nature of the show. No one talks about on a pro dancer level. You know, you appreciate some of us for they know what they're doing. You know, they know their job. They know what they're doing.
We're figuring it out.
Know it, right? But we also don't know a lot, and we're also subjects to an unknown that comes to the why I got eliminated, the let me see my results. How
Right.
many votes did I get? You know, what
Right.
is that, like 50% of my, whether I stay or not stay,
Right.
that I never even understood because
Right.
I don't see it.
Because if you knew you were getting all these votes and you were a front runner by the votes and by the results, and then you got into the freestyle round and you blew it, and then and it all just shifted, then
Well,
you'd be
who
like,
cares? But it's the
then it's
same as seeing
obvious.
the scores. To me, I would have looked at it completely different. Not completely different. I wouldn't have looked at it like, oh, we're getting whatever. I would have looked at it like we're getting the score. You get just a fourth judge, right? And seeing that 10 and a 10 and a 10 on week 6 never made me feel like, yeah, I can, phone it in next week,
not at
right?
all.
So I think seeing the landslide maybe make you feel like you can do it all, and then the next week you see there's no landslide anymore, but
Well,
so anyway,
yeah.
it's not about production or produce.
No.
It's not about that. It's about there's an unknown by the rules,
Right.
and that makes it difficult to come back with like, yeah, I've learned what I needed to learn, right? So we start to dwell on what I didn't do,
Yeah, what I could do better next time.
and,
too,
and some of us do, and some of us, like you said, we just get into the groove, and this is how we approach the season. This is how I was victim of that too within myself. Fell into this is how I approach the season. This is how I'm going to learn by week 2, by week 3, by this, by that.
Right.
Instead of allowing the season to happen to you, I wish I did more of that. I feel like as a pro, rather than this is the kind of partner I got, that's the kind of mentality
Right.
I need to have.
Right. And, we had way more hands-on control over the 360 when it came to what we were putting out than we do right now.
So bringing it back, to,
Which
again, an
takes away a
overall-
little bit of that competitive edge if you are willing to put in that effort. Someone like Derek, for all those years, was willing to put in that effort and figured out little ways. He Bill Belichick the whole situation. It's very thin line between, strategy and cheating, right? And he was obviously strategic about a lot of the choices that he made. Those strategies we can't even apply anymore. We just don't have the power to do that.
But, or at the same time, I personally, speaking about myself, I was stubborn to a lot of those strategies.
I know.
I was not the guy that's going to only exclusively face forward and the camera. I'm the guy who'll spend an 8 with my back towards the camera and in a weird angle because I
that's
believe
the correct principle
that
of ballroom
she
dancing.
she gets that rotation the right
Right.
way. And so, yeah, absolutely. That makes a huge difference. The being in a room also, the versus watching it for the first time like myself, the whole show, minus everything
Right.
before and after, but in its entirety. I've never done that.
Right.
I've never even done that when I was on the show. There was couples that I didn't even see, But so this is a perspective that everyone gets. They're missing out on so much. I find myself watching this, but imagining and feeling certain things, right?
Right.
Based on my experience of being in that room. It's very different.
Yeah.
It's very different because you're subject to those 12 cameras, however many there's now, but you're subject to that person who choreographed the camera work around you, right? So you think
Right.
you're slick with your footwork, right? And he's showing your
He's showing
face.
your face. Yeah, I love
And
that.
you're
Those
like,
were
come
my
on.
favorite. When you spend 3 hours trying to teach how to properly do the footwork.
Yeah, and they show the face
And
while
the face,
she's thinking,
you should- thinking about
the
footwork.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, can we get, So anyway, the point is that it's still a great opportunity. The game's changed. The rules have changed. And, the good ones roll with the punches, learn how to adjust, and keep it moving. That's it. I just, I applaud everybody for their effort.
And now
I'm
it's
ready to
over.
move on.
Let's
Let's move on. I want to keep dancing. I want to keep creating. I want to keep doing my thing. And I hope the world opens up. I hope Corona gets under control, and I want to go on tour. I want to go on tour. I want to dance. I want to create. I want to perform. I want to bring joy. I want to reinvent a lot of things. And
Do you want to come back and have a winner? Or would you
I
rather
do.
a Nelly?
I do. I want a winner. You know, I'll be completely frank. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. They put me on the bench and I've been chilling, and it's been
But
really tough.
You've been playing good teammate. You know,
I've been
that's what you
trying.
do.
I've been
You've
trying. Listen, I've been
you
trying. I
just need
think
to ball hug for a second.
no. I think you know you need to play your role. You can't be a hypocrite. You know, this is my time, and I'm down to do it gracefully. But I am being patient, and I just hope you know my time comes back because I could definitely still ball. I could definitely
Kobe.
still deliver, and I could definitely deliver at the highest level on that show. With again, all due respect
But
to everybody on the show.
it's a great way to let you go.
Cool. Before I say something else, love you, bro.
Love you too, man.
Mwah.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
amazing. See, I have something for you. Always.
Yo, we get gifts.
Always.
Now
It
we're
says-
now
it
we're a
says-
legit
it says-
show.
It says Weiner. No, I'm just
All
kidding.
right, put it on me.
Right
Put
here.
it on me.
We have this. It says #1 because you're #1 in my book. Always and forever. Winner, winner.
Thanks.
Here you go, bro.
Did mom send this to you?
No, but
I
you're
appreciate
gonna
it.
appreciate it. See, mom, that's
I'm gonna take my chair with
still doing it. Hey, can you
Can-
just like
right?
slide a little bit? You know what I mean?
Okay.
There you go. All right, cool. Ladies and gentlemen,
me. Yo,
Valentin
thanks, bro.
Chmerkovskiy. Bam, bam, bam.